How long is the lag?
Hey everybody, welcome to our virtual keeper chat on this slightly cloudy day here in New Bedford, Massachusetts. We are at the Buttonwood Park Zoo. We're really glad to have you joining us today. We are at one of our animal exhibits with one of our keepers. If you're a regular visitor of the zoo, maybe you have a guess as to where we may be today. We are doing these every day at 11 o'clock. It's a really great way for us to continue connecting with our audience. We miss our visitors so much, and we love being able to continue teaching you about our amazing animals and conservation, and maybe bring a little bright spot to your day, because these certainly are brightening our days. We will post this to our page and on YouTube afterwards, so if you leave or your signal cuts out, you will be able to watch it again. We got some comments coming in. Hello everybody. Hi Hannah and Mackenzie. Welcome back. We're glad you joined us again. Oh, someone's wondering about a bird. Allison says bobcat. Hi Lillian and Christian. Daniel says bobcat too. Got a lot of great guesses. Today the theme of our keeper chat. Hi Diego from Arizona. We love seeing you every day on here. Ooh, maybe a fox. So today's theme is all about enrichment. We're going to be learning from one of our keepers, Steph, all about one of the really important parts of being an animal care professional. And we've got a lot of bobcat guesses coming in. So let me just quickly say you are correct. We are going to be meeting the bobcats. We're going to meet them in just a minute. So the way this is going to work today, Steph is going to teach you a little bit about enrichment. We'll do a little training demo so you can see the cats up close, and then we're going to actually watch them get some of the enrichment. So I'm going to turn it over to Steph, and there we go.
Hello, and welcome to your virtual keeper chat for today. And we are at the Bobcat exhibit. Good job, those of you who guessed that. And we're going to be making some enrichment that you can actually make at home for your cats, dogs, birds, ferrets, whatever you want. Probably not aquatic animals because it'll get really gross. But so today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about enrichment. So enrichment is one of the most fun and most important things that we do here at the zoo. So I love enrichment. It's a great way to interact with our animals. And we have 5 different categories of enrichment that we usually do. And what enrichment is it's something that stimulates our animals and gives them the opportunity to learn and express natural behaviors. So these guys, they don't get to go out very often, so we like to give them new things every day and different things. And the different categories that we try to fulfill by doing that are physical, nutritional, cognitive, social, and sensory. So we're going to do kind of a combined effort here today, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how to build a physical item that you can make at home. And you need 3 things for this. You need paper, scissors, and glue. So you're going to, my paper is already pre-cut, but you're going to use the scissors to cut a piece of paper into strips, any length you like. Grab a glue stick, and tell me if you can guess what I'm making before I make it.
I bet a lot of you have made these
1,000 times. And enrichment isn't just for animals, so this is great for humans too. Please try to use it on your parents as well at a later time, because everybody needs enrichment. So you're going to use the glue, make a couple little rings, and then use one to attach the rings together. Has anybody guessed yet?
Not yet.
Not yet? Does this look familiar to anybody?
Yep. We are wanting to remind you to use non-toxic glue whenever you do this. So yes, that is a non-toxic glue.
Yep, you want to make sure you use non-toxic glue. I'm using basic computer paper right now. You can also use newspaper. Don't use the shiny kind because that sometimes has chemicals in it. And you can also use construction paper. That's all it looks good. So we are making a paper chain. So yes, our animals here at the zoo will play with paper chains as well. Sometimes it takes a little encouragement, and your pets might want to play with it too. So I have a couple pre-made paper chains. And I'm going to go introduce you to my bobcat friends, and then we're going to give them some toys to play with.
Yeah, we got a lot of friends who have made a paper chain, but I bet you've never thought to use it as enrichment for your animal before.
So we're going to be making a couple different enrichment videos where we can show you different things that you can make with items out of your recycling bin, because there's a lot of stuff that you have, and if you're stuck at home, you're probably going through a lot of toilet paper and things, so you may want to save all of those items for a later date. So this is Salsa, and Salsa is one of our 20-year-old Bobcats. So Salsa here is an old lady. Bobcats in the wild generally have a life expectancy of about 7 years. Our New England average is the same as the national average, which is about 7, but in captivity they can live into their late teens. Salsa here is on the higher end of that, obviously. The oldest in captivity was 32 years old, and the oldest in the wild was only 15.5 years old. So they do have a good lifespan here with us. So Salsa here is a good example of a female bobcat. So she is about 20 pounds, so she is a little on the chunkier side, but bobcats can range anywhere from 15 to about 30 pounds, and it depends on the range where they are. So these guys are found throughout parts of Canada all the way down through Mexico.
Can you tell us a little what they're eating?
Yes. So our animals get a lovely zoo carnivore diet. Here we go, I'll show it to you. Delicious, right? It looks kind of like ground hamburg, which is basically what it is, only it's specially formulated for wild cats. So it has all the vitamins and minerals already added into it, and it has a lot of other important parts like fat and cartilage.
So if you watched our horse video on Monday, you may have seen the horses doing the same behavior that the bobcat's doing now, which is a target pull. We have a question about why the tops of their ears are black.
That is a good question. So if you look at can you zoom in on her ear? I don't know if that's possible.
I'm pretty zoomed in right now.
Good. So if you notice, it's not just the tops of her ears that are black, it's like a black circle that goes around creating a white spot. And that actually helps for camouflage. So it helps to break up their pattern, and it looks kind of like an eye spot. So if somebody tries to sneak up behind them, they see this big white spot, and it kind of looks like somebody's staring at them. So it's a protection.
Hannah, age 8, would like to know if they also eat vegetables.
So bobcats, as well as other cats, are what we call true carnivores. And true carnivores means that they don't eat produce. So occasionally you will see cats eating grass in the wild, or even your house pet eating grass, and some cats at home are weirdos and do like things like pecan pie and broccoli. I have one at home who does that. So they do occasionally eat it, but they can't get any nourishment from it. So bobcats are what we call carnivores, and they will only eat meat.
And what in the wild, what kind of prey would they eat? Scarlett would like to know that.
Ooh, Scarlett, that is a great question. So this is a small cat. Do you think she's going after something big or something little? Wait a couple seconds. Probably something little, right? So in the wild, bobcats, depending where they are from, are very opportunistic. Salsa. And they'll eat anything from a cricket to a deer. So a very small deer, not a big deer, and it has to be a big bobcat who's eating a deer. But in the wild, these guys will be eating a couple times a day, and they'll be eating a whole bunch of little things. And the little things that they really like to eat are rabbits, squirrels, and birds. Those are definitely their favorites. Our New England population of bobcats has actually been shown to prefer turkeys because we have such a high population of those right now.
Reese, age 5, read in his bedtime story of 5,000 Facts book that big cats have 3 eyelids. Is that true?
It is true. So these guys, they have something called the nictitating membrane. It's a fancy word for an extra eyelid. So they have their main eye, like we have a top and a bottom eyelid, and then they have the nictitating membrane, which helps to protect their eyes, and it acts
sorry everybody.
Real nice.
Sorry.
It acts to help deflect light come nighttime.
Excellent.
Hi, Sal. I have nothing else for you.
Can you just explain a little bit about what the blue thing is in your hand for everybody they're asking?
Yes. So this is a target pull, and I'm going to do the same thing I did on Monday's lecture if you guys came. So a target pull is a training tool, and you have to touch your nose to it. So I'm going to touch it to the screen. Everybody touch your nose to the screen. Good!
Now you all get a treat.
Targeted. So now you all get a treat. So we teach all of our animals to touch their nose to this or different body part in order to allow them to facilitate training. So they know when they touch this, they're going to get a treat. And once they get that in their heads, they're like, okay, I always want to touch the ball, and I want to get a lot of treats. So
Ooh, Sam is joining us again today. He has so many great questions. He was wondering why they have such little tails.
That is a wonderful question. So there are a lot of different theories on this one. So bobcats, they have a tail that it can be no longer than 3.5 inches. So that is as big as their tail gets. And that is all bobcats and other lynx genus cats. And that's because these guys are a small carnivore. So one of the theories is that because they're a small animal and they have such a wide range, other things do like to eat these guys. So it's less for them to get grabbed onto. They're also not big jumpers. They don't jump as much as they run and hide. They're ambush predators, so they like to stalk. So they don't necessarily need a long tail. And then the other theory is that because some of these guys range into colder climates, maybe it helps prevent having an extremity that can get frostbite.
Great. Hannah and Mackenzie are joining us again. They have a question about their intelligence. Are they as smart as a monkey or an elephant?
Intelligence is a hard thing to measure, but generally speaking, cats are not given the most on the intelligence scale. I think that these guys are brilliant. I think it's a matter of opinion for a lot of people. I prefer my cats to my primates and elephants, and I think that they have me trained better than the primates have our other keepers trained.
All right. So I know we met Salsa up close, but we have someone else in the back there, right?
Yep, that's Sprite. Sprite, you want to come up? So Sprite is our other female bobcat who is also 20 years old, and you'll notice Sprite is a lot more shy, even though there's nobody here, which is really funny. So Sprite is a little bit more on the petite side. She only weighs about 16 pounds, and Salsa, as you can tell, is definitely dominant and more food motivated. But it's okay. Sprite will get her breakfast. She'll just get it a little bit later if she doesn't want to eat now.
All right. Do we want to maybe try and give them their enrichment?
Yeah, let's see. Do you guys think they'll like it?
So what are you going to do with that? Are you just going to give them the paper? Are you going to put anything on it?
I am going to put something on it. So because enrichment can be fun, and this in itself is a fun cat toy.
I'm sorry, but just for people, if you look behind Steph, we have a cougar also wondering if they're going to get enrichment. Stay tuned to another day. We will definitely meet the cougars. Oh, and we might see some enrichment in action. Just curious.
See, cat toys. Fantastic toys. So today for our bobcat friends, because they like to get a little extra something, we're going to be giving them some chicken baby food. Yeah, you can give that to your house cats at home and your dogs. It's pretty nasty, I'm not gonna lie. And seasoned salt. So these are two other types of enrichment. So the baby food falls under the category of nutritional because it's a food item. So nutritional is generally novel food items or food used in a different method. Where seasoned salt smells. I wish we had a smell-o-meter. But so these guys are very sensory oriented and they do like a lot of different smells. Salsa especially likes different things, so we like to give them a couple different scents. We do try to make sure that there's nothing in it that could be potentially dangerous for our cats because they do like to roll in it occasionally.
All right.
So I'm going to go in the exhibit with our friends and put their enrichment out, and hopefully they'll play with it.
All right, so as soon as Steph comes back, we can keep answering these awesome questions that you have. We're gonna see if our friends like their enrichment this morning. If you're just joining us, this is Salsa and Sprite. They are bobcats. Hi, Catherine. Yes, we do still have Max and Maisie. They're part of our Animal Ambassador program, so rather than being on exhibit, they live with our animal ambassadors and come out for programming. Maybe we'll meet them at a later keeper chat.
So some of you may have noticed I put Salsa away. So Salsa has a special holding area that she can go into where she's comfortable while I put this out because it's a lot easier for me to pay attention to one bobcat than it is for me to pay attention to two.
So Steph is going to add some sensory enrichment on top of there and some food, and then we'll see if they want to come interact with it.
Hopefully we can get Sprite to come over and play with this.
So if you're thinking about enrichment at home, you're probably already doing some enrichment for things like cats and dogs or even small pets. Maybe there are treats that you give them or taking them for a walk, playing with a ball. Those are all
Snuggling on the
pretty,
couch.
yeah, snuggling. Any kind of novel thing that you do with them would be considered enrichment. All right, so this one that we're looking at here has the baby food on it. This one over here has the scent on it. And as soon as Steph comes back, she can keep answering these questions. I think they're curious about what Steph may have put in here.
So do you think Salsa?
Looks like Salsa has found something. We had a bunch of questions while you were away.
Sure.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, everyone. My hands are cold and I am dropping things. About were you scared when you were in there of potentially being attacked by the Bobcats?
That is a good question. So I've worked with these guys for over 10 years, so I am very comfortable with my Bobcat friends. That being said, they are wild animals, so I do respect them, and I want to make sure that I'm keeping my distance with them. These guys were not hand-reared and do not enjoy being pet. They don't like being cuddled, so we try to give them as much space between us as possible. And one of the reasons why I lock Salsa away is because she can get food aggressive. Since I'm putting food on a toy, I don't put my face near that.
Oh, I think we have a cat that likes her enrichment today, even an older cat. Can you remind us how old these cats are?
20 years old.
20. And how long can they live for?
The average in captivity is about 18.
Oh. I think she liked that baby food.
And Sprite is being very shy right now.
Yes, the Bobcats are not used to me. This is Carrie, so they may not play with it until I have left.
It's also like your cats at home. These guys are wild animals, but they are still cats, so they don't often always interact with things when people are watching. Sometimes they like to wait till your back is turned, even when it's just a phone.
And how can you tell these two apart?
That is a great question. So Salsa here has a lovely darker coat. So her coat is a little more on the reddish orangey side, and she's darker. Her spots on her legs are a little more defined, and she always has a slightly more angry expression to her face. Her face ruff is also a little bit smaller, so if you look at her face, if she ever picks it up again, you'll notice that the white fluffy bit around her cheeks is smaller than Sprite's is if Sprite ever comes over.
So many good questions.
Maybe we'll try to get a picture of Sprite later to post for you guys.
Yeah. How fast can they run? Emmett would like to know.
So Bobcats can run, they can sprint up to 25 miles per hour, but they don't do that very often. Usually that's only if their prey is running away really fast and they didn't catch it and they want to get it really quick, or they're trying to avoid another predator.
Ooh, Jackson and Landon, that's a great question. You know, they look like our house cats a little bit. They're not too big. Would they make a good pet?
That is a great question. So in most states it is illegal to own Bobcats without permits. So Bobcats are wild animals, and I would highly recommend not having them as a pet. They do have they're about twice the size of your average house cat, and therefore their teeth and claws are twice as sharp and twice as long. So they can be a little more dangerous. And when they play, they do play rough.
And
they also smell.
Reese has a good question. If we have Bobcats living around our homes, would they ever play with our house cats or something like that?
They're probably, I would advise keeping your house pets indoors for a lot of different reasons. So Bobcats, even though they are a species of cat, will occasionally eat house cats. So they probably would not be playing with them.
And now, Audrey's wondering about how these two came to be with us, why they live here, when we got them, how old were they, all that kind of stuff.
So they were about 6 months old when we got them. They're originally from Virginia. These two were both orphaned in the wild, and Fisheries and Wildlife deemed them non-releasable back to the wild. So they've been here their entire lives. They've gone through 3 different exhibits, but actual places. So they've gotten their view of the zoo, but this is their retirement exhibit.
And Hannah was wondering what their favorite kind of meat is.
Ooh, that's a very good question. So it really depends on the day. Our bobcats are very opportunistic eaters, and they do like bobcats in general. Salsa here is a garbage can, and she will eat anything from the meat that we give her to a hamburger to squid. She's kind of gross. Sprite, on the other hand, has better taste buds and does prefer her rabbit and mice.
We have a great question about if they have any natural predators themselves.
They do. So bobcats in the wild are predated on by cougars mainly, is their biggest predator. Occasionally coyotes, but they have more trouble with competition with coyotes because they both eat the same food resources. And then when they're kittens, almost anybody can eat them if they're left unattended. So especially large birds of prey and other small predators.
Great. How common are they in the wild?
Bobcats are the most populous wildcat that we have here in North America. So there are populations of them which are vulnerable throughout their range. So they range all the way from Canada down through Mexico. Mostly in Mexico is where they're endangered. In Massachusetts, we have a very healthy population, somewhere between 800 and 1,000.
Awesome.
So they are hard to track because these guys are nocturnal, but there's a lot of research out there on them.
Excellent. I'll take maybe a couple more questions. Joseph, age 9, would like to know how much they eat each day.
So in the wild, these guys would be eating as much as they could get their little paws on. We have to regulate how much that they do eat here at the zoo because if you gave me enough chocolate, I would be very round. Giving these guys enough of their favorite food would make them very round, so we do limit it. So Salsa gets about 1/4 pound of food a day, and Sprite gets about 1/2 pound. And you can see Sprite sitting all pretty in the background.
Autumn has a great question. It's kind of a rainy day today. Are their coats waterproof so they can stay warm in the rain?
For the most part, yes. So these guys are definitely cold and weather tolerant. Their coats are multi-layered so that they do have that nice fluffiness on top that keeps them dry underneath. But if it is a torrential downpour, these guys are going to seek shelter. We have lots of hollow logs for them, and we have nest boxes that they can go into where they can stay out of the rain. And that's what they would be doing in the wild as well. They'd be going under rock ledges and into logs and stuff.
Anna had a good question about how long do they sleep, when do they sleep?
So bobcats, like most cat species, like to sleep a lot, and they sleep mostly during the day. So these guys will take cat naps, and they can sleep up to about 18 hours a day, and it's all through cat naps. So even though we're out here during the daytime, as you can tell, Salsa is not mad about that at all. She's gonna go take a nap after she takes a bath probably. Maybe she'll play with the sensory train, we'll see.
How many babies can they have in one litter?
They can have up to 5, but the average is 3.
Oh, now we're gonna check out the sensory enrichment and see if we like that too.
Yes, she did. So Salsa here really likes to mark things. So you're gonna notice, and she's gonna do something that your house cats at home probably do to you. So she's rubbing her cheeks all over where the scent was, and that includes the chain. So she's rubbing scent glands that she has in her cheeks, which she's expressing the smell, so that way she's marking it as it belongs to her. So think of that next time your house cat rubs up against you, they're owning you. They're basically saying that you belong to me, and that means I love you.
Maddie had a good question about if their coats change colors with the seasons.
They do get a little bit more gray come wintertime and a little bit more orangey come the summertime. And their spots actually change with the years. So as they get older, they do lose their spots.
Interesting. Yeah, I see her rubbing away over there. Do they like catnip?
It's got to be the really good quality stuff. So if you're a cat owner, you probably know that not all cats enjoy catnip, and not all catnip is produced equally. So these guys really do like their nip, but it's got to be fresh.
Ooh, Haley, age 8, had a great question. Can they see colors?
So bobcats can see some colors. They don't have a full spectrum color like we do.
Great. And then you had just mentioned that she may take a bath. Someone was wondering how she takes a bath.
So she takes a bath like any house cat does. She rubs her, licks her paws and then rubs it all over her face, and she licks herself nice and clean. Although bobcats do like, well, some bobcats, not our ladies here, do enjoy swimming as well, but they don't usually do that as a cleaning method.
So we are getting a really good look at some sensory enrichment, which is great. And if you're just joining us, Steph did a really great job of telling us a little bit about what enrichment is at the beginning. So we recommend if you go back and rewatch it when we post it later, that would be excellent. I think we're going to wrap this up. So thank you so much, Steph and Salsa and Sprite. We really loved watching them receive their enrichment and do a little training. If you've been following along in the mornings, we've been posting some nature connection activities each day for you to do. Tomorrow's will be a connection to this video that you're watching right now. So we're going to ask you to try and come up with some new enrichment ideas for your pets at home. So definitely watch for that post tomorrow morning. We will repost this whole thing so you will be able to rewatch. If your question didn't get answered, it probably did at the beginning of the video. And thank you so much again for joining us. We are loving these. I hope you are too. We are here every day at 11 o'clock for a virtual keeper chat. So thank you, Steph. Thank you, Bobcats. And have a great day, everybody.